So I know it's the economy, and particularly inflation. That was the top issue in this election that we just had. But you're talking about inflation. It's not just like, hey, the price of eggs and that kind of thing. What you hear from people over and over is the cost of childcare being talked about. Parents, how much it costs to take care and raise children. Childcare costs are rising fairly steadily over the past few decades, before then spiking 32% over the last 5 years. Now, presidential plans are out there. Election's over now, of course, but you look at what Harris wanted to do and what the president-elect wants to do, just the one bullet point there, child tax credit up to $5,000 for all income levels. Let's bring in the vice president of Imagine Early Learning Centers, Debbie Bermudez. Debbie, welcome. So
Thank you, Kyle.
I feel like this is the issue that I hear about the most in terms of just regular parents saying, I can't believe how much it costs, trying to calculate if it's worth it for me and all that kind of thing. What probably wasn't talked about enough in this campaign, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Certainly in the last 5 years, looking at your statistics as well, the costs have really risen astronomically. I mean, some of that is an impact really from COVID. We've really seen those costs rise, and our increased staffing costs have really fueled a large majority of those increases.
So on the what to do about that, what's the role of government in your view? So a couple of things. So as I said, Harris had a bunch of stuff that she talked about. Obviously, she didn't win. But the one thing that Trump has put out there is this one tax credit, and also a lot of attention went to the commentary from his running mate, J.D. Vance, about, family, so your grandma, your grandpa, that kind of thing. So he said this at our town hall recently.
You have grandparents that would like to help out with the grandkids, but for some financial reason, it's just not possible. Maybe the grandparents have to work, of course. In the present era, you have a lot of grandparents who are working because under Kamala Harris's inflation, they just can't afford to make ends meet unless they go and take a job.
Okay, so that was his kind of explanation of his previous comments. Your solution or kind of recipe of solutions would look like what?
Well, no disrespect to the vice president-elect, but his solutions are really not realistic for every family across America. I think it's really important that we look at a combination of factors that can really help with the child care crisis. The government certainly bears a huge responsibility, whether it be in tax credits or grants for providers, but it's also important that employers understand the necessity of childcare really as an essential service. At Imagine Early Learning, we try to partner with employers so that we can help defray some of those costs. It's also important for childcare organizations, much like Imagine, to really work on advocacy with government, with local authorities, to work on grant programs. But the government is really need to understand that the cost of childcare is going to continue to escalate as we ask for more qualified staff to educate our young children, which is absolutely an important factor. And the costs are going to rise in a way that the government is going to have to help fund it, either directly through providers or through tax incentives or child care benefits directly to families.
All right, a combination of all of those things. And see, the recent spike is interesting. Inflation is normalizing now, but these costs remain quite high. Debbie, thank you. This is a story we'll stay on top of as we continue our coverage of all these things on NewsNation Now.